Pep Talk UK out at the press conference. Avanesyan versus Josh Kelly. This is the coming of age for the next breed of fighters. And who better but to break it down and tell us what we're expecting come March the 28th. But Sky Sports' Adam Swift, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. And you got it absolutely right. It is the next breed. And I think that we are looking for that now. I think with the likes of, you know, my mate Carl Froch and Tony Bellew and all of those guys, James DeGale and George Groves and now Anthony Crolla recently, you know, all of those sort of, you know, great careers coming to an end. David Hay too. We need the next generation. I'll tell you what we are getting. We're getting the next generation of women boxers, which has been phenomenal. You know, with Katie Taylor and Terry Harper the other night, Savannah Marshall fighting for a world title soon. You know, the women are really progressing. And I think we need the likes of Josh Kelly and Joshua Buatsi and Anthony Yard and all these guys to start really knocking on the door for the big nights. And yeah, this is 2020 has got to be the year. I thought 2019 would be the year for Joshua Buatsi, and it was a good year for him. But of course, he lost a bit of momentum at the end. He needs to fight 3 or 4 times this year. I think he will become a world champion at some point. But we need to see him. We need to see him on our screens. We need to remind the public how good he is. And for Josh Kelly, it's a terrific fight. It's one of the great clashes of recent times for a European title. It was an excellent matchup 14, 15 months ago. It's even better now with what David's gone on and done. So I'm really looking forward to it. Josh has plenty to prove, so does Adam. And can they do it? Can the sublime footwork and the skill set and the rhythm and the mobility of Kelly undo the aggression, the experience, the power, the knowledge, the hunger of David Avanesyan, who is a favourite, and rightly so in this fight. It's one that if I go around the office, half the people will pick one and half the other, and that's what we want.
It's interesting because Josh Kelly came on the scene in a blaze of glory, very flashy, very exciting, and then he had that fight with Ray Robinson. And a lot of people in this boxing public, in the community, they raise eyebrows to, you're not allowed a bad performance, basically. And
which is ridiculous. You know, it's ridiculous you're not allowed a bad performance. What about when Matthew Macklin, my commentator, fought Andrew Facey in what his 10th, 11th fight and he lost? What did he go on to do? He got on to do some brilliant things in the sport, you know, wonderful fights, had a terrific career. A loss isn't everything, and a bad performance is not everything. You learn from it. Ryan Rhodes was floored a couple of times in his pro debut. You know, he went on to fight for world titles and win British belts and all sorts. You know, Johnny Nelson lost his first 3 fights. Look what happened to him. You know, it's not, you know, people want to protect these zeros and stuff like that. You're not allowed a bad performance. He got a bit of criticism from us, from everybody, Josh, last year, because Adam's telling us he's the best thing he's ever seen. And, you know, with that comes pressure. Josh has had cameos of utter class. We know how good he is. You know, he's got unbelievable talent. He just has to transfer it onto the big stage, under the big lights, and he's done it at times against Ray Robinson. Robinson was a good fighter, is a good fighter, very tough fight, you know. And, you know, people out there, I wasn't ringside for the first 2 or 3 rounds, but there's a lot of people that thought Ray Robinson deserved to win it. I watched it back, you know, it was a close fight, and, you know, Josh can come again, he'll learn from it. I think a bit of the criticism has stung him, and I think he's got back into the gym, and, you know, maybe there comes a bit of maturity as well, and, you know, the PBK and all this sort of stuff is all great, and everyone's got the attention on you, and suddenly you get a bit of criticism, and it's like, oh, you got to look yourself in the mirror, and I don't think that's a bad thing. You know, this is a long career for him. It's, you know, it started out, and he's unbeaten, and, you know, let's see how he develops. There's always going to be ups and downs. There'll be more ahead. It's how you deal with them. It's a bit of a risk taking this gamble at this stage, fighting David Avanesyan, but it was one they were prepared to do 15 months ago. He's the same fighter. Josh Kelly and him are going to go and share a ring. It was going to happen in 2018. Now it happens now with more at stake. Headline attraction, O2. Maybe more pressure. Who's going to deal with that better? Who's going to get their tactics right on the night? Are we going to see a new star of British boxing, one that Adam believes that we will? Or are we going to see a very, very good fighter in David Avanesyan, who spent a lot of time over here, go on and fight for a world title? Or maybe they both will. It's a great fight.
it's interesting, the welterweight division, 147 pounds. What I've noticed about this weight class is from domestic to European to world level, well, it is quite a step up. I mean, you think of the great champions at the moment on the world level. How far is Josh Kelly away from that?
Yeah, someone asked me the other day, has Kell Brook's career, if he lost against DeLuca or if he sort of, trails off in the next year or two, whether it's been a a disappointment. I said, absolutely not. You know, he won a world title at welterweight against Sean Porter, unbeaten at the time, over in Carson. That was an incredible achievement. You know, he's gone on to share the ring with Golovkin and with Errol Spence, you know, and put good fights in against both of them. And he's had a brilliant career. And yeah, let's hope he can have a great Indian summer to it as well. But no, it's not. The welterweight division is ferociously good. And it has been since, you know, Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao and, you know, all through the sort of modern times. It's been terrific. And now you've got, as you say, Spence and Crawford and, you know, pound for pound, some of the best. So it's a frightening division. And Josh Kelly and certainly is a long way away from that. David Avanesyan, if he wins this, he could get a shot at a world title. He's been a WBA regular champion. You know, there's always an opportunity there. But, you know, they are elite fighters, those guys. And, you know, we have to wait and see with the development of the welterweights here, you know, how far and how long it will take to get to that, or whether they have to let them move on and become multi-weight champions and then sort of slightly easier opportunities manifest. It's all about timing and matchmaking and doing the right thing. But, yeah, it's a big jump up to that sort of level. Of course it is.
Adam, I've got to ask you about the news that emanated last night. Oscar De La Hoya saying Callum Smith is an idiot for rejecting a big offer to face Canelo. I mean, what do you make of those comments?
Callum Smith's not an idiot. He's a fighter. No fighters are idiots. You know, Oscar shouldn't be saying that, really. I mean, it's like, you know, it's all hype and all the rest of it. But Callum Smith's a very successful fighter. You know, we have respect for every single man that gets in the ring. Calling him an idiot is, you know, they're trying to make money for his, you know, trying to get the right deal for him and his family. You know, he's an unbeaten world champion, and you know, rightly so. I don't know the figures. Whether it was a good offer or not a good offer, it's not up to me. That's up to their teams to negotiate. It's disappointing. I want to see Canelo fight either Callum Smith or Billy Joe Saunders. You know, I'd like to see our guys get a chance of, you know, I think Canelo's a great fighter. And, you know, if they can't make a deal happen, either of them, and he goes off and fights somebody else and, you know, maybe somebody else upsets him or whatever, then that'll be a shame, because a British fighter's missed out on the opportunity. And I'd love to see those, one of Callum or Billy Joe in there. I know Billy Joe really wants the Canelo fight. I was talking to him at length last week. I know Callum really wants it. You know, it's up to them to get the deal over the line. I'm not privy to that, but I hope that they can resolve one of them, you know, Callum and Canelo. If not, maybe Billy Joe. But if neither of those, then maybe Callum fights Billy Joe at Anfield, and it's all changed. And we have a huge night at the best stadium in the world. Although I did go to Tottenham the other day and was blown away by that. And hopefully AJ fights there in the summer. But I'm being a Liverpool fan. It's our home, Anfield, and I've wanted a fight night at Anfield for many years. And I think Callum and Liam and all the Smith brothers get Paul out of retirement, put David Price on. I think we're going to have a great night at Anfield, especially with us going to win the league this season. So it's fantastic, and that would be brilliant. But you know, we don't know. I'd love to see one of them get the shot at Canelo. This sport moves very quickly in waves, and you know, next week we might be announcing Canelo and Callum Smith. So who knows? You know, it's up to them to work it out. But as always, these things are best worked out behind closed doors and not in front of the media. But you know, if they want to do that, then that's what happens, and they've got to work out what the next step is. But I'd like to see those fights happen, as I said, if not at Anfield. But yeah, I wasn't actually blown away by that Spurs stadium the other day. When we went, we got the 3 points, and then I had a look round, and I've made it very clear to Eddie and AJ and everybody else that I'd love to see the AJ defence at Tottenham in June. Yeah.
Andy Ruiz Jr. He's talking about his new opponent, and there has been speculation online that it could be King Kong, Luis Ortiz. He said Dillian White didn't want any smoke, so he had to move forward.
I certainly wanted Dillian White against Andy Ruiz. I thought it was a great fight. I think it looks like Dillian and Pavett can get it on, which is a really good fight as well. Listen, the heavyweight division has got so many. You can just pluck up and throw them together, and they're going to be great nights. The heavyweight division absolutely flying. Love the announcement of Dubois and Joyce. What a good fight. Next week's going to be phenomenal in Vegas. And, you know, it's great for the heavyweight division. You know, AJ and Pulev is a really good fight. It's a very good mandatory. It's a dangerous fight for Joshua, and it's great that it looks like it will happen in Britain. We wait for an announcement and contract signed and all that. Usyk Chisora looks like it's going to happen. Say Dillian Povetkin. Andy Ruiz against Luis Ortiz is a great one. You know, these are all good fights, and let them keep coming. Let the merry-go-round happen. But at some point, we do want the winner of of Wilder and Fury to fight Anthony Joshua, don't we? We want to get that. That's the one thing we haven't seen is Anthony Joshua in with either Wilder or Fury. So that's something that we've got to look for in the next 12 to 18 months. But, you know, Anthony Joshua's done everything that's asked of him. He's won his titles back. You know, he's the man in many people's eyes. Other people think he'll be the man next week. It's all subjective. It's all debatable. For me, Tyson Fury beat Deontay Wilder first time around, so maybe he's the man. But then I was commentating on Deontay Wilder last year, and, you know, no one hits harder. So let's see what happens next week, whether there'll be a third fight, whether we'll finally get a unification, you know, crystal ball and all that. We don't know, do we? But things are moving in the right direction for all of us.
We've got a massive fight, the small matter of Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury, the Gypsy King. Tyson Fury's got some unusual methods of preparation that I'm reading. I won't repeat them, but it's going to be a cracking fight. And I, for one, I'm really looking forward to it. Would you make it a fight? I mean, who's going to win this massive fight and potentially fight Anthony Joshua? Potentially.
I think it's a really, really good fight. It's one of the best fights in recent years. It's a phenomenal rematch. You know, let's get that straight. You know, BT are covering it, so Sky Sports aren't broadcasting it, but you know, Sky Sports News is going to be there. I'm going to try and get over there. It's a fight you want to be at, and a fight we want to be talking about. It's a very important fight in the heavyweight division, and so you know, you look and break it down. I mean, as I said, I thought Tyson won the first fight by 3 rounds. I agree with Frank Warren, who said that afterwards, that he thought Tyson won it by 3. Getting up off the canvas was miraculous, as we all know, in the final round. You know, will he get up again if Wilder connects? You know, that's the big question is, can Deontay, you know, land 1 or 2 clean shots during the 12 rounds, and if he does, then, you know, he can win the fight, as we all know, you know, within 10 seconds. Tyson Fury's got the skills and ability to box rings around Wilder at times. I'm not quite sure what to make about the Ben Davison split, because I thought Ben was really good for him. Is he really training for power, or is that a smokescreen? Yeah, you don't want to go in there and try and knock out Deontay Wilder when you've got the skill sets to do it a very different way. You've shown how to do it once before. Maybe he doesn't want to leave it to the judges. Maybe he doesn't believe he'll get the decision again in Vegas. And, you know, but he can punch, but he's not known for his big power, Fury. So it's interesting to see how he goes about it, but it will make it very exciting if he does try and go for the knockout. Who do I lean towards? You know, rematches often go the same way, as we found out in Saudi Arabia. They occasionally don't, in dramatically different fashion. You know, Lennox Lewis got it right, didn't he, against Hasim Ratman, Oliver McCall, a second time round. Deontay Wilder's good in rematches. He did it with, you know, Luis Ortiz recently, got it done better in that one. And, you know, again as well with Bermain Stavern, he got it done dramatically, didn't he? So he's good in rematches. You know, I'd be tempted if Fury could outbox him, but I just wonder if Wilder will just lay one on him at one point, which might, and he might not let him off the leash this time. Don't know. I think Fury probably, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was Wilder by KO, and quite dramatically too. So I'm sitting on the fence for it. And why not?
Yeah, I thought you were going to just say it's going to be a draw.
Do you know what? It could be again, couldn't it? But look, it's a fantastic fight, and I think that's what we want. You know, like Dubois and Joyce, like Kelly and Avanesyan, like, you know, we've got Scott Quigg and John O'Carroll in a couple of weeks. You know, these sort of fights is what we want. Well, we don't know who's going to win. That's the key. And you know, I don't think Tyson Fury will say he's going to win. Deontay Wilder will say he's going to win. I wonder if deep down they really don't know either, because, you know, it's such a difficult fight to pick. Who do you think? Exactly.
AJ asked me the same question, and I said, "Look, I've got to sit on the fence myself."
AJ thinks Fury, but not by much. You know, it's just one of those that, you know, but is he backing his Brit? You know, all of that. I think that Fury won it for me last time. Therefore, you sort of think he can do it again. But he wasn't as convincing last time out. He had the cut. Wilder's been terrific since. Has that changed things? And has that changed things with Kelly and Avanesyan in what they've done in the 15 months since they should have fought? Isn't it fascinating boxing? Isn't it great?
Anthony Joshua, I met him earlier this week, and he mentioned he wants to do this mega fight for the winner, against the winner of Wilder and Fury. But there's so many hurdles.
So do we. Of course there's hurdles. There's always hurdles in making a big fight. It's business, you know. But these fights will happen. I have no doubt. I think talking to Anthony Joshua, talking to Deontay Wilder, talking to Tyson Fury, these fights will happen. You know, this one's happening next week. Anthony's got to try and keep hold of his belts. He's got mandatory challenges queuing up, the likes of Kubrat Pulev, Alexander Usyk. He can't lose the belts, and then where's the unification? So it's difficult. Boxing's difficult to sort of navigate around, and that's Eddie's job as his promoter, and that's Top Rank for Tyson Fury, and it's BBC for Wilder. It's, they've got to work out the strategy and whether they want to put them together just yet, and when's the best timing, and when does it financially make sense, and, but I've got really good relationships with Shelley Finkel and Team Wilder, and also with Team Fury and Top Rank and all of that. So it's look, I think these fights will happen with Anthony Joshua. I think it will. I think Anthony wants them to happen. He's got to keep winning, of course. If a defeat against Pulev changes things again, and but I think the winner or the loser. There may be a third fight, of course, with Wilder Fury, but the winner or the loser is still a big fight for AJ at some point in the next 12 to 18 months. I think they'll happen. Where they'll happen, who knows, but they'll happen.
Finally, Deontay Wilder, he was asked over in America about Anthony Joshua potential fight, and he keeps referring to Joshua being a coward. Now, last time I spoke to Joshua, he wants to fight. What do we read into these comments that he's saying that him being a coward? I
know Deontay. Deontay respects Anthony Joshua hugely. A lot's going to be said in front of cameras, of course it is, but no, they're fighting men, but all of them. Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua have enormous respect for each other. Don't think they don't. And they need to all mix it up and find out who is the best man, because at the moment we don't really know who's better between Tyson and Deontay. We think we do, and then we don't, and then Deontay does one thing and Tyson does another. Then AJ loses dramatically to Andy Ruiz, and then he comes back and it's as though nothing's happened, and everyone's saying he's the king again. And it's great for boxing. Everyone has their favourite, and they're all different characters. They've all got different styles. They've all got huge assets, and they've also got one or two weaknesses too. So it's great times for the heavyweight world, and great times for the heavyweight world means great times for boxing.
I'm just imagining the three fighters in a WhatsApp group texting each other about a potential fight in the future.
You know what? Stranger things have happened. I've always said with Amir Khan and Kell Brook, get them in a room, leave them to chat it out, we'll get a fight. And maybe we won't, but I always think it's worth doing that at times. There's so many levels and layers and managers, promoters, and they're all trying to do the best for the fighters, of course. But sometimes the fighters just could make it happen, I think.
Just to conclude, you think would it be a good idea if Anthony Joshua just pulled up to the Wilder Fury fight, stuck it on Deontay Fury and said, look, let's go?
I don't think it's his style, and I don't think he'd stick it on anyone. I think he'd be totally respectful of the fact it's their show and their fight. I have said to Anthony a couple of times, why don't you go out there and Deontay commentated with us on the Klitschko fight, and I think it's good for publicity, it's good for you guys, it's good for us, but at the same time that Anthony's got his own business to take care of, and if it's not his style and he doesn't want to, then that's up to him. And but maybe we'll get the winner of Deontay and Tyson, or the loser, or both of them, ringside for AJ's next fight. Maybe that way is another way of doing it. I just think, the more they're around each other, the better it is. The Lewis Bowe rivalry and all that sort of stuff, when they were chucking the belt in the bin and all that sort of stuff, but they never got to fight. So at the end of the day, it just comes down to negotiations and whether the fight is right for both parties at the time. So I'm sort of easy about it. Yes, I'd love AJ to come out next week, and but I don't think he'd rally out, cause a storm. I just think he'd be very respectful and just say, I want to fight the winner. But I think he's doing other things. I think he's got a heavy schedule. He's back in training, so I don't expect to see him there. But if he did, it would be great. But no, he's got his business. They've got their business. But trust me, they all respect each other hugely.
Just to conclude, are we going to get a bomb squad from Adam Smith?
That's not my style, is it? Let's leave that to Deontay next week, and I'm sure he'll get one or two. I like the one when he did with Jimmy Lennon up there, and that spooked him a bit. And I saw David Avanesyan trying that at the stare off there with Josh Kelly, trying to spook him a little bit. But it was Eddie Hearn who got spooked. So who knows? No, leave that for Deontay next week. I'm sure there'll be a lot of fun out in Vegas, and let's hope we have a great fight.
Adam Smith, it's been a pleasure once more. Pep Talk, make sure you subscribe. Thank you.
No problem at all. Cheers.
Thank you. Thank you.